How does someone go from ordering lunch to earning a mugshot? It was a regular Thursday at the airport. Gate agents paged final calls, kids clung to neck pillows, and travelers rushed through security hoping to grab a quick bite before boarding. But over at Concourse B inside a bustling terminal restaurant, something unthinkable happened, something that would turn gateside meals into ground zero madness. At 11:32 a.m., airport police received a call. "We have a woman here who just assaulted another passenger." By the time Officer Link arrived, the chaos was already unfolding like a scene from a low-budget crime drama. "She hit her, with a phone, I think. She just, bam, right in the face," said a visibly shaken witness, pointing toward a pale elderly woman holding her cheek. "Then she spit on someone else, just turned and spat. Like an animal." The victim, a woman in her late 70s. Frail, hunched, glasses cracked where the phone had landed, and yes, blood trickled from the corner of her eye. Another man chimed in, his voice rising. "She didn't just hit one person. She hit two. Spit on another. We tried to stop her. She was screaming, shoving, completely unhinged, like she was looking for a fight." When Officer Link reviewed the security footage, the timeline was clear and disturbing. At 11:24 a.m., the suspect walked into the restaurant. She seemed agitated from the moment she entered. Within minutes, she approached an older woman seated near the window, began shouting, then, without warning, pulled out her cell phone and slammed it into the woman's face. Gasps, chairs scraping, panic. Then she turned, locked eyes with another diner, and spit directly in her face. The suspect then bolted through the concourse. But airport witnesses didn't just stand back. No. Multiple passengers followed her, filming the incident on their phones and guiding officers toward her location near gate C-17. And there she was, wearing sunglasses now, hair tucked behind her ears, acting as if none of it had happened. Officer Link approached slowly. "Hi ma'am, my name is Officer Link with Airport Police. I'm going to need you to stand up." She refused. "I didn't do anything," she snapped. "I'm not getting up. Ma'am, you're under investigation for multiple assaults. Please don't make this worse." What followed next looked less like a police intervention and more like a wrestling match in slow motion. She resisted, rolled on the floor, screamed, kicked. At one point she shouted, "I want to ride the chair. Push me like a queen." Officers were forced to place her in a medical wheelchair to safely transport her out. Her words during the ride? "I don't have a wallet, I don't have ID. I just magically appeared in the airport." All this while the elderly victim was being treated by medics just a few gates away. Once in custody, she continued to shout, "What does disorderly conduct even mean? Is that even a real charge?" Well, it was. So were elder assault, resisting arrest, spitting on a civilian, vandalism, and assaulting a first responder. Her mugshot, taken later that afternoon, showed a woman no longer screaming, but stunned, maybe for the first time facing something she couldn't shout her way out of. From an outburst at brunch to a bracelet of handcuffs. In a place designed to help people take off, she was grounded by her own violence. The real tragedy? No one even knew what set her off in the first place. But one thing was clear. Airports don't need more security checkpoints. They need more self-control. And in that terminal on September 21st, 2023, the law made one thing undeniable. No one flies above the law. What do you do when one passenger grounds 173 lives because she thinks she's destined to lead the nation? June 2022. Flight 9 and 18 was already delayed twice due to weather. The crew was exhausted. Families with crying toddlers clutched boarding passes like they were lottery tickets. But none of that compared to what came next. Somewhere in row 21, a woman, calm at first, suddenly began arguing with the flight attendants. It started over water. She demanded it. They explained service hadn't started yet, she insisted. Then came the real spiral. She refused to buckle her seatbelt. Then she refused to sit in her assigned seat. When asked to comply, her voice rose above the engine's hum. "I'm not getting off this plane. This is my flight, my mission. I'm going to be the first female president of the United States." Flight attendants exchanged a glance. Was this real? They called in the captain. He, in turn, called in airport police. And that's when Officer Smith boarded the aircraft with a calm tone and clear mission. "Get her to deboard voluntarily. Ma'am, we need you to come with us so we can talk outside." She stared at him with theatrical confusion. Why? Is it because I'm tall? Because I'm white? Or maybe because I'm black? I don't know. I am human too. The officer remained patient, even as passengers began to film. They don't have to give a reason, Officer Smith explained. The airline has the right to refuse service. They're a private company. So I'm being deboarded for being human? She yelled. Is that what America is now? By now, the pilot had had enough. The decision was made. Deplane the entire aircraft. That's right. Instead of removing just her, 172 other passengers, some heading to funerals, weddings, business deals, long-awaited vacations, had to gather their things and exit the plane. All for one person's refusal to cooperate. She stood in the aisle, unmoved. This is injustice. I need Barack Obama. I need Tony Robbins. I need water. Her final speech before stepping off? Remember this moment, because I will be the first U.S. female president of the United States, of the world. And with that, the world's most delusional campaign rally ended with zip ties and silence. Outside, still refusing to walk, she asked for a wheelchair like royalty. Officers obliged, again, trying to avoid escalation, but as they pushed her toward the terminal holding area, she shifted from speeches to sobs. I just want to talk to my husband, she cried. Can I have some water now? I'm not asking for much. Then she slumped to the ground, undoing part of her dress, exposing herself to an entire boarding area. Officers moved quickly to cover her. Ma'am, you're under arrest for indecent exposure, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. But I'm sober, she insisted. Sober and spiritual. The officers didn't argue. They'd heard enough. By the time she arrived at the station, she was quiet. No mention of politics, no declarations of destiny. Just one woman in custody, with no campaign, no crowd, and no control. It wasn't her seat, it wasn't her plane, but she tried to hijack both with entitlement disguised as purpose. In her mind, she was making history. In reality, she just made headlines. No matter what title you believe you carry when you're 30,000 feet in the air, basic respect isn't optional, it's required. And when that van door slammed shut behind her, the only office she was heading to was the one at the county jail. When you weaponize your grief, who gets hurt in the end? It was May 2024. At Gate 14 of the Spirit Airlines terminal, tensions were already high. Overbooked flights, delayed boarding, a toddler's tablet playing Baby Shark at full volume. But then there was seat 13E. Camille walked down the aisle of Flight 2921 with the slow, heavy steps of someone who carried more than a bag. Her eyes were red, her jaw clenched, and instead of continuing to the back of the plane to her assigned seat 37E, she stopped and sat in 13E, a premium aisle seat, close to the front. When another passenger arrived to claim it, Camille simply said, I'm sorry, I'm going to a funeral, I'm not moving. At first, the flight attendants tried to speak to her gently. Ma'am, we understand you're grieving, but that seat belongs to someone else. Do you think I care about your seating chart when I just lost my sister? She snapped. The other passenger, kind, confused, offered to switch seats, but Camille refused even that. I'm not moving. This is where I need to be. And if you have a heart, you'll understand. But what began as a request rooted in sorrow soon unraveled into something much more manipulative. A supervisor came on board. Then an airport officer. Hi Camille, I'm Officer Ramirez, he said softly. Can we step off the plane to talk? No, she replied. This is my seat. Look. She pulled out her phone and showed her boarding pass. It said 13E. But Officer Ramirez had something better than a screenshot, the airline's manifest. It said otherwise. Her actual seat was 37E. So how did her app say otherwise? Simple. It was a screenshot, one from an old booking, not today's. She'd forged it to take a better spot. She used death to cover up deceit. When confronted, her defense grew louder, not clearer. You think I'm lying? You think I made up a funeral? What kind of monster do you think I am? And that's when the captain stepped in. She's interfering with boarding. She's not following instructions. She's a safety risk. The officer gave her one last chance. Please step off the plane. We can sort this out without making it worse. But Camille folded her arms. I'm not going anywhere. I'm grieving. So just like that, the entire plane was deboarded, again. For the third time that day, a Spirit flight had been disrupted by a non-compliant passenger. As passengers filed out in frustration, some offered their seats to her, hoping to avoid further delay. too late. The airline had made its decision. Camille was removed from the plane, escorted through the jet bridge in silence. Then came the charges: defrauding a boarding system, disorderly conduct, interfering with flight crew, and refusing lawful orders. Oh, and a 5-year ban from Spirit Airlines. She said she was mourning. But her actions buried something else entirely. The truth. Grief is real. Grief is sacred. But when you twist it into a weapon, when you lie, manipulate, and disrupt hundreds of lives to justify entitlement, grief becomes an excuse. And excuses crumble under scrutiny. You don't honor the dead by disrespecting the living. Camille wanted a better seat. She ended up in the worst one possible, the back of a police cruiser. When you believe the world owes you comfort, chaos is just one spoonful away. August 15, 2023, 5:40 p.m. At the Delta Sky Lounge in Terminal B, things were winding down. Soft jazz hummed through the speakers. Business travelers sipped wine. The scent of warmed chicken soup drifted gently between armchairs. And then she walked in. No boarding pass, no Delta ticket, no invitation. Just a disheveled woman with 2 overstuffed bags and a determination only rivaled by confusion. "Excuse me," the lounge attendant began. "This area is for Delta passengers only." "I know," she replied, brushing past. "But I just need soup and a smoke." She wasn't flying Delta. She wasn't even flying that day. Yet here she was, helping herself to soup, crackers, and the last remaining sense of normalcy in the room. The staff called airport police. Officer Jacob and Officer Landry arrived minutes later. "Ma'am," Officer Jacob began gently, "can we talk to you for a second?" She looked up, sipping soup like royalty. "Can we not?" she said. "I'm Jacob's favorite wife. He knows me." Jacob blinked. "You're in the wrong lounge," he explained. "We need to escort you out." No, she waved them off like flies. "I just need to finish my soup and find the smoking lounge. Don't be dramatic." What followed next felt like a scene written by a playwright on cough syrup. She claimed to be famous, said she was on TV, said she couldn't talk like a normal person because she was watched by satellites. "I'm absolutely fine," she continued, "if you just let me finish my chicken soup." When the officers finally coaxed her up, she clutched her bowl like it was sacred. "This is for my physical health. I'm not leaving without finishing this." They guided her toward the smoking lounge, located across the terminal. "It's $10 to enter." "What?" said the cashier. "I don't have money. Just let me in. I need a cigarette." "No money, no entry," said Officer Landry. "Those are the rules." "Fine," she snapped. "Then pay for me." "Ma'am, that's not how this works." She threw her arms up. "This country is disgusting. I hate America." Then she muttered something about needing to pee, dropped her soup, and bolted down the concourse. But that wasn't the end. 15 minutes later, she resurfaced. This time at gate B9, screaming at a gate agent who had denied her boarding on a flight she wasn't booked on. "Get your hands off me while I drink my water," she shrieked. The officers returned. She resisted again, pulled away, screamed for help, cried, then refused to get in the police car. "I'm a very good person," she sobbed. "I don't deserve this." But no matter how hard she tried to rewrite reality, the ending stayed the same. She was arrested, charged with disorderly conduct, trespassing, and failure to comply with airport personnel. She came for soup. She left with handcuffs. Somewhere between sipping broth and screaming, "Jacob is my favorite husband," she forgot one truth: you can't force your way into spaces you don't belong and expect the world to serve you on a silver tray. In her mind, she was misunderstood. In reality, she was escorted through Terminal B by 2 very tired officers. She called it injustice, but everyone else just called it Tuesday at the airport. What happens when your pride won't let you leave, but your fear won't let you stay? February 13, 2021, the eve of Valentine's Day. At Gate C19, the last call for boarding echoed through the terminal. Couples clung to each other. Solo travelers scrolled quietly through phones. But amid the calm, a ripple of tension began to form. One woman stood at the jet bridge, mask under her chin, arms crossed. A flight attendant had already made the report. She refused to keep her mask on during boarding. Got confrontational. The captain won't allow her on the flight. Airport police were called in. Officer Daniels approached with calm professionalism. "Ma'am, we just need to speak with you outside." "You've got the wrong person," she said flatly. "No one spoke to me. My mask's been on the whole time." But the captain stepped forward. That's her. That's the one. The woman's eyes darted. Her voice cracked. This is unlawful. You can't just make things up. Please, Officer Daniels said again. Let's step out and talk. Leave me alone, she hissed. I'm leaving. Don't surround me like this. And then, just as she seemed to move, she snapped. She flung her hands, screamed, tried to run, and fought off officers as they restrained her in the narrow jet bridge. Because of my mask? You're arresting me over a mask? She thrashed, pulled away, screamed, You broke my hand, my finger hurts, my iPad's cracked, you're gonna pay. Passengers watched, stunned. Some filmed silently, others just turned away. The woman was no longer standing. She had collapsed, now sobbing, begging, pleading. I need to call my lawyer. I need to call my mom. It's Valentine's Day. I'm alone. She reached for any shred of sympathy she could find. Please, I'll do anything. Anything, just don't take me. Please. The officers stayed silent. You don't have mercy? It's Valentine's Day. I'm at your mercy. But mercy isn't the absence of consequence, and despite her desperation, the law had to hold. She was escorted sobbing to the terminal holding area. Still resisting. Please, I'm 32 years old. I have no one. I can't go to jail. Please. But it was done. She had refused to comply, had been warned multiple times, had resisted arrest, had violated airport policy. The charges: trespass after warning, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. She said she was alone on Valentine's Day. But it wasn't loneliness that led her here. It was defiance dressed as victimhood. She believed the world should bend to her emotion, that her heartbreak made her untouchable. But the law doesn't take days off for grief or guilt. At 30,000 feet, safety isn't a debate, and at the gate, rules aren't optional. She could have walked out with dignity, but she stayed and left with handcuffs. When your status no longer shields you, who do you become? September 12th, 2023, 4:25 p.m. Inside Terminal D of a major U.S. airport, a woman stood at the customer service counter, her phone pressed tight to her ear, voice rising with each word. To a bystander, it seemed like a difficult traveler trying to rebook. But to airport staff, it was a red flag with lipstick and a boarding pass. Within minutes, she had verbally assaulted 2 agents, shouted at another customer, then stormed toward a different gate without permission. When approached by security, she snapped, I've flown for 30 years. I'm executive platinum. I don't need permission from you people. Man, we need to see your boarding pass. I don't need to show you anything. You don't even know who I am. They did now. Officer Nash and Officer Grant responded to the call. They found her at a new gate, recording staff on her phone, shouting about discrimination, screaming in the face of a gate agent. She slapped me with her phone, one agent told the officers. She made contact right here. 3 staff members confirmed it. One even showed a scratch mark on their cheek. She was chest to chest with me. I tried to de-escalate, but then she yelled in my face and swung. The officers moved in. Ma'am, we need your ID. Why? I haven't done anything. You assaulted 3 people. That's not assault, that's travel stress. And then came the unraveling. You don't understand, she slurred. I've had 2 drinks, maybe 3. But that's normal. I always drink when I fly. Her voice cracked, then rose again. I am traumatized. I am handicapped. I'm executive platinum. Do you even know what that means? Officer Nash remained calm. It doesn't mean you can break the law. But she kept spiraling. This whole country is trash. I hate Americans. You people make 60 grand a year. You think that makes you important? Then came the shouting, the name-calling, the mockery. Even sexual insults thrown at the officers. You feel strong in your 5-inch whatever. You think you're a man? You're nothing. She laughed, then started crying. The mask had cracked. I just wanted to fly. I just wanted to be seen. The officers placed her under arrest. She fought, swore, then demanded a wheelchair. I want to call my lawyer. You can do that once we process you. I want it now. I want to talk to someone who matters. By the time she was placed in the car, her executive platinum tag dangled loosely from her carry-on, swinging like a relic of something she no longer was. The charges? Public intoxication, simple assault, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct. She carried status, she carried pride. But in the end, she couldn't carry her own consequences. She thought her loyalty card would speak louder than the law, that past flights made her untouchable. But entitlement can't buy immunity. Airports don't care about your miles, they care about your manners. And when the doors of the patrol car closed, she was no longer a platinum anything, just another passenger, grounded by her own behavior. If you believe the truth deserves to be told, justice deserves to be served, and every human, no matter their status or skin color, deserves respect. Hit that subscribe button and join the Aiva Stories community. We don't just tell stories, we spark reflection. We demand better. Every video is a reminder that silence is never the answer. Turn on notifications so you never miss the stories that will anger you, move you, and maybe even change the way you see the world.